Bring the lights back. Bring the lights back. There we go. There we go. Bring the lights back. Oh, my. Had the wrong slide up there from the get-go. Going down under. Oh, my. We are going down under. That's what they want. That's what the system needs, is for the Chaz to go down under. That apparently, that is the notion, at least. Hold on. Let's see if we can get this thing. Okay, it's already gone. Cool. So anyways, ladies and gentlemen, we are here today with several topics. There's a lot of things happening within the racing world, and obviously the recent situations that have occurred. We are going to say today that come this Friday, today we're going to somewhat stay away from some of the recent things that have occurred. But come this Friday, Broke Joe's coming. Me and Broke Joe have been having some very intense conversations over this entire scenario that has played out over the last couple of days. And instead of dragging it on out like some people are suggesting we're doing here, instead of just burying the past and, what they did and how they did it, it's just all okay. Don't worry about it. Can we... Hold on. I ain't going to look at can we just forget about it? Can we just please stop? We're going to forget about it today. We're going to somewhat let it slide for this evening. And we're going to snap back to reality, because I don't know what the hell some of that stuff was. But this Friday, Broke Joe is going to be joining. We're also going to start testing a new formula here on the Chaz, since it seems like, due to the situations that have occurred, we're going to make sure that this thing stays reoccurring and working, and offering our channel members that you see across the bottom get a little bit more for being a channel member. Of course, the lives here, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, sometimes 9, sometimes late. It doesn't matter. It's going to be here Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Stay tuned and be subscribed to get the notification when we do go live. They will be here unless something else has happened and we're going and traveling or something along those lines. We could still be live at tracks. But Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we will be live. But we're thinking of putting them behind a membership paywall. And not the lives. Lives will always stay free, but the replays of the entire live the following day could potentially go behind a membership paywall, which is $2.99 at the minimum. $2.99 at the minimum to get the full shows in replay form. The lives stay free. The replays, next day by noon, those will be locked for members of the channel only. Normal clips of 10 and 12-minute segments from our long show, those will continuously be free, and music videos and everything of the sorts. But the live shows replay will go behind a paywall to the channel memberships. Those, once again, will be $2.99. We're hoping at a minimum $2.99, which I guess $2 of that goes to me and $1 goes to Facebook, or YouTube. Kind of messed up. But we're hoping that adds some emphasis to people tuning into the live show, and also a little bit of some reoccurring support here for the show. So emphasis on being here for the live show if you want to watch it, and then also rewards for being a member of the channel, but still not missing out on all the clips, all the content that we have been pushing and putting out. But this Friday, live with Broke Joe here on the channel, if you're looking for a rehash of the situations that have occurred in everything that we have talked about here recently and what people think, be ready. It's coming. It's coming this Friday. Broke Joe is ready to I don't even know what to call it, actually, ladies and gentlemen. But I will say this. There is a lot of things going around out there in the motorsports world. And there is a suggestion box, apparently, in certain instances. This is going to be the only time we touch on this subject, I'm going to call it. But we get over here. Suggestion box. We have a suggestion box or a memoir to the Chaz after the weekend's situation here on the channel. Just wanted to read this out. And I feel like this is a majority of people who are rational and understand fairness. Not the biased people, but the fairness people. But the people who hate to even see me on their screen as well. It's a very weird love-hate relationship. For some reason, I experience them a lot. It says, "Hey, you, I don't like you. You make me laugh at shit I shouldn't laugh at. I form opinions about events the way everyone else does by reading comments and seeing which way the wind is blowing. What angers me is listening to your crazy notions that goes against my notions. Damn you. Now here's what really pisses me off. You're continually providing or proved to be truthful and accurate in hindsight. Kills me to post this. As usual, after the greatest chili bowl ever, you gotta find some small incident to piss on the party. And you were wrong. The only reason they threw the yellow is because, as they said, the banner was coming loose just one lap prior, even though we disproven this. Then Kyle knocked it out of the way, so they had to throw a call. Oh, wait. Oh, damn. I just watched your YouTube video, spot on this morning, detailing a video showing the Chili Bowl banner yellow light incident. Okay, I'll just shut the fuck up now. Thank you. Damn. Why did some track official in charge of the decision to throw a yellow try to interfere? Let rules dictate. Throw the yellow 3 laps earlier when the banner was first knocked onto the track. Correct. Had 3 laps to do it. How stupid to have banners tied with tethers anyhow on the wall of a racetrack that the shootout showed. They ride up the walls and wreck occasionally. Hey, Chili Bowl, think about it. Dayson Pursley is not a bad guy. Not the end of the world if he wins. Quit trying to control outcomes. How do you think he feels watching that video? That's a good point. How do you think Dayson Pursley and other competitors feel when they seen the actual fact? How do you think they felt after they watched these other channels, everybody's favorite channel, come out and make a whole explanation video on a one-lap theory that was proven to be false information? And then they see what we all actually watch, the real video with the real. How do you think these people actually feel when they see a narrative get pushed to that degree with false and manipulative information and plot? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And then, yeah, how do you think Dayson Pursley feels about that? You're the same people who stand high and mighty preaching to the racers that they dare not dope tires. Rules work both ways in society. This person followed up and said, you drink too much to realize the service that you provide us race fans. I don't like not one hat you've ever worn. Don't like your music. You're not attractive, obviously. Your tobacco habits are disgusting. You can forget being a movie star, and you have bad hair. That's what this person said. I know you don't think your content is important, but you speak the truth, man. You got guts. I respect the hell out of you. Makes me want to cry, almost tear up. I mean, I thought I was talking to Broke Joe for a second, especially with the ugly and the bad tobacco and drinking habits. And like I said, I plan on letting this go, but they opened the suggestion box up. Ladies and gentlemen, I was particularly informed by some people in charge today of some of my opinions and why they need a little bit more damn research before they go running the damn mouth. And I responded. I was like, okay, so which opinion would you like me to adjust and why? In my opinion, the information that was provided by the person I was discussing with, not going to tell you who it was. I respect the individual personally. They are in a very, very extremely powerful position of the scenario down there. And after his explanations of why both the tire situation and the banner situation occurred, my opinion did not change. There was some more explanations, for instance, to the tire situation, of course, was one of the main topics of discussion. Not saying this is accurate at all when I say this to be the reason, but a general understanding from what I got through the conversation was the situation with the tire, and why it was not next year ban or just this year ban was they couldn't get the samples back quick enough from the drivers who qualified Thursday and Friday. So that's why they said in the Thursday morning or drivers meeting, if you get caught, you're done next year, because they wouldn't have time to actually get them caught by Saturday with the samples that were being taken Thursday and Friday. Of course, Clint Boyles was in one of the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday races, which those samples would return by Saturday's events. Not some big conspiracy theory to protect Clinton Boyles or anything like that. This is the just exact reason why that wording was told to the Thursday drivers. Okay. He asked me for suggestions. I said everyone should still be DQ'd next year. Well, those Thursday and Friday night drivers, they get to run Saturday night the Chili Bowl and go for it. Okay, so it's like we gotta do something about that. Okay, so they're gonna run Saturday, and when you get their samples back that they're bad, they're gonna be DQ'd from the Saturday event. Their results do not matter. They wasted their fuel and their tires. Yeah, they got to play on the track a little bit, but most people in there are going to get 10 to 15 laps on a alphabet soup main event, and that's about it, especially the ones that are cheating, because they ain't going to compete for the win. They're cheating to try to just have a chance to get through the field, maybe. And at the end of the day, I don't think a qualifying night should determine the severity on where you were placed as to the punishment of what you will receive, because it's still 2 days for 1 day, even in that scenario. You're DQing one guy on a Saturday night. You're giving him 2 nights the following year in 2026. You're not DQing the guy on Saturday night who's Thursday, Friday. You're DQing him, though, 2 nights in 2026. The guy DQ'd Saturday gets to race. So basically, both drivers aren't going to win the 2025 champion or Chili Bowl, because they're both going to get disqualified whether he races or not. He'll get to race on the track, but the results won't matter. But one guy is going to get to race next year for the Chili Bowl, qualifying night and main event, and the other guy is not. So even in the scenario, it's not about Boyles and not about the click and all this. It's still not fair. Unfortunately, it looks like you can't get your tire test back in time. I do think a more effective way, outside of just saying, or even trying to spin around all these tire tests in a quick fashion. I mean, I know people would love to pop them on the night of or a couple of days after or something and restrict them from even competing Saturday. But if you can't do it for everybody in every single qualifying night by Saturday, then it's not fair to the guys who are out of the racing season next year and to those who are in the racing season next year for doing the same crime. So that's still going to be my stance. The banner situation, like I said, Broke Joe's going to be here Friday. Broke Joe's going to be here Friday. We'll know all about the banner situation then. And then you heard your guy who thinks I'm ugly and hates my drinking and tobacco habits. Honestly, the bigger issue here to me is today I was trying to get a nice podium picture to look at Kyle Larson's wrists. What I mean by his wrists, I was looking to see if the watch was on from the picture somebody else sent me. Apparently, the rules don't apply to all. Although it's just a heart rate monitor. Okay, well, we looked up the model. Maybe he's got a newer one, doesn't have it, disabled, whatever. But I was looking up Chili Bowl podium earlier today, just typing it up. I was trying to find a picture. I'm scrolling, I can't find one, and then, this comes across as I'm scrolling. And this is my other suggestion box. I hope, I cross my fingers, you people understand manipulation, especially after that old one lap theory that we all watched. That's how easy it is to get away with it if you don't have my ass sitting around. Now, when you get to their degree, this is what you get. This is the headlines. How NASCAR drivers dominated the 2025 Chili Bowl Nationals amid fierce rivalry. I got the screenshot of what I scrolled down. I don't know why I can't see it, but I was looking for a podium picture, and that was one of the suggested stories. Trying to see why it ain't coming up. Maybe it got removed. Hopefully you are doing something like that. But it was very interesting, very, very comical picture. That was next to the story. That was the picture. And it's like, nobody in that frame. And this is the problem with these stories and how this is being spun due to how we embrace the NASCAR deal and promote only that seemingly it looks like the NASCAR deal in the Chili Bowl week and the Gordons and all this stuff. We promote it, and then when it gets the heat and it gets the attention, it's shit like this, how NASCAR drivers dominated the Chili Bowl. And here's the manipulation, the media-based manipulation with stories like this. This picture right here shows it looks like Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, William Byron. None of these three drivers competed in the Chili Bowl at all. But with headlines, and obviously this is just one, but I could probably go find a ton of other stories that are NASCAR superiority, which is basically what it is. They're playing off of a mental game. Our shit's flag football. They're the NFL. It's their job to promote these three drivers right here as better talents than yours. They're doing a damn good job with it too, by the way. So when you get certain manipulational titles and pictures and stuff, every one of these drivers in this frame right here, they were not at the Chili Bowl, but every one of these three drivers are viewed as better than the drivers in the Chili Bowl. Because it didn't say Kyle Larson won the Chili Bowl. It didn't say Christopher Bell was top 5 or racing for a top 5 at the Chili Bowl. It said NASCAR drivers dominated the Chili Bowl. And believe it or not, when you celebrate certain entities, even Larson and Bell coming in and just spanking some ass when they do it, that is the notion that most people see. It doesn't even have to be lettered this way for people to view it that way. Once again, this is why they come to sprint cars and dirt and try to get drivers that are 16 to 18 years old. They try to make it look like a high school form. That's why you got Jeff Gordon in there saying that he's looking for up-and-comers because it's high school racing. So your 25, your Thorsons, your other guys, your older people who aren't young, they're not up and coming. They're old and done. They just weren't good enough to make it to the big leagues. We all know that's a falsity, fakeness. That's all a lie. That's a manipulation. Well, then stop playing into the hands of the manipulators. That's costing, honestly, this sport across the board. When are we going to get big? When are we going to grow and become greater? Maybe when you're respected as greater than high school flag football dropouts. Anyway, it's a sad subject. I mean, I got to go to the YouTube chat here. I don't know if there's any reaction to what I just said. Maybe they saw the banner. Oh no, we're still talking about it. Here's the text from the image. Michael Hume, do you think it possible the officials didn't see the banner until it moved down the lower of the track? Being at track level, as Dirt Tracker described. No, there were the video we posted on this channel that's titled the one lap theory debunked, shows the flagman pointing out the banner on the track 3 laps before the caution is thrown. I mean, I could try to back these ads down. I've heard people say that. I'm going to go ahead and take it down to a lesser time frame, but that's the second time I've done that. Have Gordon go in the Lucas pits without a camera and see how his prospecting goes. He may not walk out to the other side. The boys from Oklahoma, they get on their knees and roll out red carpets for that son of a bitch. Oh, I called Jeff Gordon a son of a bitch. Y'all gonna get mad at me like the Caitlin situation? I can tell you right now, I mean, you can take offense on that one, JG. I mean, if Caitlin's pissed off, Caitlin's pissed off, but we've talked just as much shit in person as I did in that video. We've actually talked worse. Like I said, Kyle got his ass jumped by Caitlin one night when he started running his mouth at me. So, I mean, we've talked just as much shit in person and joked around and have friendly banter. But, yeah, Jeff Gordon, yeah, see what that son of a bitch, he goes up into the late mile pits. Watch what happens. This article makes me cringe. Oh, it should. It should. This is a part of the issue. Don't be calling Jeff Gordon a bitch. Yeah, I agree. It feels like it's almost anyone in their eyes can get in a car and win. He'd knock you the fuck out, boy. Laugh about. I don't think I'm worried about Gordon. Maybe one of his guys. You know, I'm sure when you get into that elite level of funding, you don't got to fight nobody. You just pay people to do things to others. You know, y'all know how that works, right? That's why that guy sending that message is very, very true about the whole you got guts. Bro, there's some people in this industry with enough money to pay somebody to spill them. You know that, right? There's people in the industry with enough money to pay somebody to spill some guts. And they probably know them. Anyways, next topic. We do have a good topic to talk about. Once again, Broke Joe coming here Friday. We're going to get a little bit more deep when Friday comes around. But a good topic, a good story, something for everyone to be happy about that I wasn't even aware of because I was in a PSYOP, basically, down there in the Expo Center. That's the closest thing I could call what happened down there. I was in a literal living live PSYOP as it was happening, especially with the things that Caitlin said to me and the things that the officials were doing. It was a literal PSYOP. They knew what they were doing to me. At least that's my feeling. But down in Golden Isle, there was a late model race on Saturday. Friday. Friday. I believe this was Friday. Yes, Friday, because I was driving down to the Chili Bowl when this occurred. Tyler Bruening picked up the Lucas Oil Speedway opener. This was a very emotional win, a very hyped up win. And honestly, guys, I don't know who watched this race, but we did watch it as we were going down the road to the Chili Bowl. We were kind of flipping back and forth. But Chili Bowl was kind of down when this A-Main was going. But Bruening has been traditionally one of those guys, when you're watching him on the track, he could be running well in the main event, and it could be leading, for instance. But when the momentum fades, when somebody shows him a nose, when somebody passes him, when he drops a few spots, and this is for most people, traditionally, Bruening and most people just continually go backwards. And some people will say that's tires, setup, track conditions change, and the car's just not right. And that is usually the case, not just for Bruening. I shouldn't even said that traditionally it was Bruening. That's traditionally for anybody. You know, they call it comers and goers. And that usually occurs because the guy runs strong at the beginning and then goes. And you don't see him, and here comes the comers, and they take the lead, and they win the race, and blah, blah, blah. But in this scenario, Bruening fell back and looked to be like, oh, well, there goes the guy who was there. And then all of a sudden, the 16 car put it up on the top and honestly let it rip like we've never seen the 16 car rip before. Now, I remember back in 2021, and he drove back up, made a pretty aggressive pass on Brandon Overton. Honestly, a pass I wouldn't have saw traditional Tyler Bruening making. Extremely aggressive, I think. But once again, like I'm saying, up on the wall, ripping the lip, aggressive moves on the racetrack. We've never technically seen that from Bruening. That aggression, that commitment to the top. Because sometimes people underestimate how difficult in a super late model it actually is to commit to running the top like a Bobby Pierce. Bobby Pierce will destroy his shit. Most of the people up there will. You know, those high-side hustlers, they pay a hustler's price most of the time. And then to send a damn late model onto the top of the racetrack next to them damn walls as high as Bruening was on a decently sized track is very risky for your equipment. And I think he even said it in the post-race interview, you know, commitment level that he had there, extremely true. You know, and there's a lot of commitment that you have to have when you're sending that car into the corner in a highly, you know, potentially treacherous situation that isn't necessarily in everybody. I think a lot of people out there drive scared. To me, I think that's one of the big differences between the late model industry and the sprint car industry. Sprint car, hell, the guy straps in the car, you can't be scared. You're in a damn rocket ship with a damn gas tank strapped to your back. I mean, you can't be afraid in those moments. I think sometimes when I'm watching some late model races, I'm seeing guys drive scared. And when I say scared, and this is why I've always given credit to Bobby Pierce, unfortunately, for some of you haters, you're the hater or lover of Bobby Pierce, and I've always given credit to Ricky Thornton Jr., is they got the skill to send them cars into those top-size, treacherous conditions and moments and blast that sumbitch in there without any fear, and then also have the skill and ability to back that lane up. Because there's plenty of people who send those cars in there on the top like that, fuck up, slam off into the wall because they ain't got the skill to match up with their balls. But I think that's where commitment is the proper term for that moment on the racetrack. Because commitment takes fear kind of off the table. And then also in commitment, you're dealing with the confidence of what you're doing. So even though it doesn't take fear off the table all the way, you're still thinking of the fear in its factor, but you have the confidence within yourself to do it, to nail that line. It ain't just a psychotic derangement and your whole damn right side of your car is going off in 10 laps or 5 laps when you make the mistake. So commitment is actually the perfect term to what I think we saw Tyler Bruening do in that race. The driver committed to himself, to the car, to the race. And he sent it. And honestly, this was a season opening shocker. Like I said, I've watched this guy since 2021. I first started noticing this guy. It was the year that Gustin and Strickler were World Outlaw Late Mile Rookies of the Year. And there was this, and that's why I was paying attention to it, because me and Gustin had a history, you know, watching modifieds, and Strickler and me had always had a good time hanging out with Bloomquist and everybody. And I'm like, who's this damn red 16 car that's up here? I think he was leading the Rookie of the Year points in 2021. It's like, I never really heard about this Bruening guy. You know, who's this? You know, I've heard of Strickler and Gustin. These were big names coming out of the modified industry. And interviewed him, and he's just, you know, running the Iowa late mile stuff, did a little Lucas, all this. Okay, cool. So you start paying attention to guys. I'm like, okay, here's kind of like a little guy as far as the star spectrum of those three, Gustin, Strickler, and Bruening. I mean, obviously Strickler and Gustin were the hot shoes of the let's see what they can do in the late model world at the time. And I don't think I ever really seen that level of commitment since then. And honestly, this could be a big skyrocketing motorsport, or obviously Skyline Motorsport. I'm getting my words all mixed up. I think this could be potentially a skyrocketing moment potentially for the 16, because I think once you get to that, and this is what possibly some of the stars of this industry learned. Once you get to that, fuck it, it's time to commit to it level, and you succeed in that decision, that's what leads to the confidence that is Bobby Pierce arrogant or kick ass and we do it and show it on the. That's how you become elite in a way, is you taste the victory of commitment. And then it's like almost like a light bulb going off. Like, damn, what if I had been doing that the entire time? And then if the commitment level continues, I think the aggression needs to stay there. I think aggression, commitment is somewhat in the same thing. I think the aggression does kind of, that's the part of it that does eliminate the fear element just a little bit, because the more aggressive you are, the less fearful you become. It does take a little bit of a little balance in the aggression and commitment level. I think some people are a little too aggressive, and, you know, that's how you have some unimpeded, blatant wrecks on the racetrack. So there is a balance on how aggressive you can be. But I do think you need to have an element of aggression when you're committed to that degree. You have to believe that you are one of the baddest sumbitches on that racetrack in that moment. Some people show that ego that I'm describing right now of commitment on the microphones. That's why some people will say they don't like Bobby Pierce because he's just so egotistical. Well, I mean, really, everybody's actually feeling that way. He's just the only one expressing it verbally. Ricky Thornton Jr. probably feels the same way as some of these guys that get more verbal, but he doesn't say it as much. That's why they say talking on the racetrack. And Tyler Bruening did a hell of a job talking in this event. Be nice to see it continue going forward. But I tell you what's very interesting about this situation. Extremely emotional in victory lane. We'll play you a little clip here that we do have off of the channel. But this is a situation here. We'll give it a little bit of audio. Let's see this time.
Yeah, baby!
So this is honestly a very interesting situation, this entire thing here. Because we've heard that Tyler Bruening is a World of Outlaw sprint or late model driver. Sorry, I'm a sprint car person. Tyler Bruening's a World of Outlaw late model driver into this year. That's what everybody keeps saying. Of course, his Skyline Motorsports teammate, Mike Marlar, was supposed to be a committed driver to Lucas Oil. But I believe he did not show up for this event and has since kind of like said, I'm not really going to do that. Obviously, the lack of attendance at this event would suggest that to be true. So it almost looked like the Skyline regime was going to have one car on the Outlaws, one car on Lucas Oil, but now they technically only have one car committed to a national tour. Now, based on that information, coming off of a win with Lucas Oil here at Golden Isle, obviously there's plenty of speed weeks to go, but that's when I keep referencing or thinking about my interview with Tim McCready, where he said, yeah, we're going to run Lucas. That's the intentional plans right now, but speed week sort of decides where these guys are going to go. Now, of course, this weekend, Thursday's already been canceled for the World of Outlaws. Of course, weather, the winter storm that's down there right now, I believe it was 9 or 20 degrees down there. They got like 9 inches in Pensacola. They've already canceled their Thursday program. There is still a Friday and Saturday lineup. So the World of Outlaws have canceled one night. But if you're Bruening and you go to this event, and if it runs Friday, Saturday, and you run not where you really wanted to, and then you follow up the next week, the Outlaws shift then to Alltech, which is a Lucas Oil race, and you got 3 days there, and you perform good. You already got a win in the belt. You perform good. And let's just say Ricky Thornton Jr. don't, but Ricky Thornton Jr. performed well at Volusia. I get it. You still have other races, Ocala. You still have the ending swing back at Volusia with the Outlaw Series. I believe it's only 3 days. The other 2 or 3 or whatever is dirt car. And with the current rumor, or with the current unknown answer to the question we had here on the channel with Ricky Thornton Jr. from the Chili Bowl, where we asked him, is he going Lucas Oil or World of Outlaws? If you're a guy like Bruening with all this momentum, and the regime of Skyline Motorsports was one Lucas, one World of Outlaw, and now it's just one guy on the Outlaws, quotation mark, like Tim McCready said. Everybody says they're somewhere. Do you decide to go Lucas Oil late models if Ricky Thornton Jr. commits to the World of Outlaw late model series? Now, once again, as a fan, I would want to see Bobby Pierce and Ricky Thornton Jr. on the same damn series. You talking about a championship that matters. And if any one of these sides, and who knows, maybe Bobby Pierce runs Lucas Oil well and commits to, I'm just saying, we'll see. The Speed Week is like the draft. It's like a live drafting playoff scenario to where some of these late model guys are going. According to Tim McCready, I'm going to take his word for it. And everybody else I've talked to, that's why I think the question mark there with Ricky Thornton Jr., he didn't really have an answer. He said they're going to run a national tour. But if you're Bruening, and let's say Ricky Thornton goes to the Outlaws this year, and you got this surging momentum, and you're doing well in the Lucas Oil standings, how could you not switch? And I think that's one of the more fascinating things with the Florida situation right now and the late models. We do have people with verbal commitments. They're out there. We do have some with loyalty commitments. And loyalty probably does reign a little heavy. Obviously, there's been a very loyal commitment from the Skyline Motorsports to the World of Outlaw Series over the years, especially the Bruening car in particular. So, who knows? But if you got the hot hand, why not play it? Why not play it? It'll be interesting to see this weekend, which I believe is the only racing in America. We're going to talk about the other racing. It'll be interesting to see what happens this weekend if the 16 momentum continues and this discussion is stupid, or if it doesn't. And then the following weekend at Alltech, you have a situation on your hands. Although the following weekend at Alltech is usually a standalone event that everyone wants to see when you're in the state of Florida, and nobody really cares that the modifieds are going to open up the Volusia Speed or Dirt Car Nationals down there at Volusia. But this year's different, guys. I'm going to give just a little bit of a shout out for an event that is going to be very interesting. It's going to be different than years past. This January 30, 31, February 1st, 3-day ASCS event at Volusia is potentially going to be the most competitive 360 sprint car race we have ever seen. I mean, I know there was King of 360s down there at East Bay. It's not the half mile. You got Danny Dietrich going to be there. Carson Bowden, the up-and-comer, being there. You have Elijah Guile going there. You have a few outlaw teams, from my understanding, bringing 360s going to be at that event. That 3-day Volusia race is going to be amazing for ASCS. But this will be just as interesting. Alltech, a track I've never been to, potentially going to be there. We'll see. We'll see. I got a taste of the road again, and I want to see it. I'm tired of negative 10 degrees up here in old BFE, Iowa. You know what I'm saying, if you know what I'm saying. But that would be my takeaway from this whole scenario. It'll be interesting to see the switch and if the switch is made, especially with the momentum and potential commitment on the track and commitment to the year change that we have seen with the 16 car. It's just my evaluation. I just sit here and talk and see things. You are still in here talking about Seabell. Stop crying about wing carts. That's collusion. Oh, my God. Y'all ain't even talking about things. Oh, wait, here, somebody said something. I think having Clanton and Marlar in your corner is a great thing for Bruening. Of course, Clanton has been a teammate for a couple of years, or a year. Marlar was a teammate last year, so that's true. Two great minds. This is very factual. The only other situation that is developing as we speak and is happening this weekend race-wise is this one. And it's actually got some, I know controversy follows me everywhere, but it does. Avalon. This is the premier speedway week down there in Australia. They did get the kickoff event going, the President's Cup, as it's called. Ryan Newton picked up the win last night. And it was a pretty good showing for a bunch of just different drivers there. Jamieville went second, and Brock Hallett round out the podium. So, interesting on how that went there. So, winner going Ryan Newton, Ville second, Hallett went third. James McFadden, who's still over there, went fourth, and then Callum Williamson actually picked up fifth place at Avalon. This was last night, today-ish. I mean, it is kind of like day over there right now, but interesting how that shaken down, or shook down, that is. Callum Williamson doing very well over there on the short tracks, not in his home area. I know everybody was always hindering on Callum not being able to leave WA and do anything. It's looking pretty good right out of the gate, going to the short track there at Avalon and running in the top 5 behind James McFadden. Tonight, if you want to watch a race, I think it's going to be on actually here in a few hours. They are at Borderline, which while I was over there personally, Borderline to me was the best racetrack that I went to. I thought personally, all around, not like facility, Perth is awesome, and even the racing there is good. I would say outside of Perth, and I'm a short track guy, so the best short track I personally experienced, and venue was pretty nice as well, would have been Borderline Speedway. It looks like that's happening now. Like, this is happening now. They're a day ahead over there. This was posted 3 hours ago, so I think it's like 2 o'clock. So a couple hours or an hour or so. I have to get my time adjuster out anyway. But that is going to be happening today. And then, of course, the Premier, the Classic, they call it at Premier Speedway, Grand Annual Classic happening the 24th through the 26th. That is this weekend in Australia. This is their Knoxville Nationals. They do have some decent names on the list here, but this event is definitely lacking the American presence. Obviously, last year, Aaron Reitzel won the event. Just scrolling the entry list this year. Of course, you see Lachlan McHugh, who's one of the fast guys over there. Dane King shot. All of the pretty much all of Australia shows up for this. I think last year they had 100 cars or 89 or something. You had Sheldon there. Justin Peck was there. Aaron Reitzel was there. Brad Sweet, James McFadden was there for sure. A bunch of guys. You see Chase Randall is on the event list. Lachlan Kant, who's from the New South Wales side, is over there. Jordan Charge, Michael Stewart. So these are some pretty large names. It looks like Corey Eliason is over there. I don't know if that counts as big name. Craig Kinzer is on the list, but he has since backed out, from my understanding. Kinzer Claridge is on the list. Marcus Dumsney, very fast driver. Garrett Williamson is over there, your 2025 Rookie of the Year World of Outlaws Sprint Car Series contender. Zach Pacriata is over there. Grant Anderson, kind of like the working man champion, the Dave Darlin-esque type of driver, but it's a wing driver. But think of Dave Darlin, that's Grant Anderson over there in the middle area of Australia, down there, Victoria racing scene. Jamie Ville is there. Daniel Pesk. I mean, we're just James McFadden, Jock Goodyear, of course. Jordan Brazier on the list. And then once again, like I'm saying, just a little bit of a lack in American entries this year. It does seem like the high limit racing situation kind of took the flair away, in my opinion, for Americans to come over there and kind of do a month or two of racing. They just kind of all invested into that one weekend, in and out, kind of. That's how it's coming across to me, at least. I mean, obviously we've seen this is not the field we saw last year. Matt Eagle, who's very strong over there. Alex and Jesse Attard on the list. Matt Dumsney there. Tate Frost. Let's see here. Ryan Newton, of course. We've seen him in PA this year. Caleb Henry, who just announced today, I believe. Caleb Henry is going to be on the All-Star Circuit of Champions for 2025, the new one. Ian Matson, Luke Dillon, and Cole Macedo is going to be running that 99 machine that Carson was originally slated to run. But he's been doing some WA racing. Looks like he's going to be running the gray and blue Dyson number 99 that Carson Macedo was slated to run originally, but cannot. Now, unfortunately, the drama behind this situation is just like the clip down there to the left, the scenic changes. So I noticed this. I went back into the rules, into previous seasons at the Classic, and this seems to be new to me. If I'm wrong and you Australian guys want to get mad at me, it's fine. I mean, I would say I'll see you this weekend if you want to whoop my ass, but obviously it's not happening. I don't have the fuck you money that some of these dudes do. But they have some rules here that is just, to me, a little unfortunate, especially if they're trying to make this event huge. All the huge events that I know of in the world that really make a staple above everything is events that have camping. And in their rules for this year, that they posted to their Facebook page 21 hours ago. I'm sure this was already known, but I'm just saying this was posted. So I'm not making it up. I'm not making it up, guys. It says no camping at this event. There's no camping permitted in alignment with local council regulations. We have very entertaining neighbors who enable us, or understanding neighbors, who enable us to use their property to accommodate the large number of cars. To enable vehicles to be accommodated appropriately, there will be no caravans or motorhomes permitted in the car parks, which is the parking lot in Australian terms. So, no camping at an event that is supposed to be the Australian version of the Knoxville Nationals. You can't say that. You can't say that about any large event in America. I know that maybe this is a good thing. Maybe it's a good thing. Pretty sure there's some people who didn't want it to happen. But camping is a must. I know campers over there are a little bit different, harder to come by. But you had a fan in here sound off, and the reply in the comment section made it seem like this was worthwhile potentially relaying to y'all here in the States. And as the replier said below this comment here, hope that this doesn't get turned to deaf ears, what this commenter said on this post. And it is in relatance to the no camping situation. It says, these speedways forget, and this is a very true statement, it's a social thing, he says, as well as a entertainment function. People catch up year after year when camping. It's a family thing as well. People make it a holiday thing, traveling to different tracks around classic time, and they have a great time, but it's disappearing slowly. They say it's council, but it's not true. I remember when competitor numbers were well under what they have been, and it is heading back there as the costs are so high. Remember, no spectators, no sport, same as no competitors, no sport. Speedway is a great sport, so entertaining, so let's keep building it for everyone and don't be a dictator. We all just want to have fun and make the classic the best time of the year. So very important. I was actually having that rules discussion with this big high up down there at the expo, and he said, yeah, you don't have much to say. You ain't got no skin in the game. Well, some people do forget that the ones who are paying most everyone's bills in this, literally, are the fans. The fans are paying the bills. I know there's some big sponsors and people up in there that make you feel like they're paying the bills, but the fans don't show. If you ruin the fan experience, you lose the actual cash cow of the scenario. As far as what he's saying here, I just wanted to repeat it because it sounds like there's others that agree. And I couldn't believe it when I saw it. Apparently there still is Tent City. I guess you could still use tents in some capacity. But no camping is a big deal, man. I mean, and I know Australia racing's a little different. You don't get the amount of camping that we see in America, and I know nobody wants their damn nice facilities that they have in America or in Australia to be turned into a glorified redneck Woodstock. But I do think that their scenario over there is a little bit different. I think that the fans over there are a little more, no disrespect, classier. I think they're a little more proper. I think they have a little bit more respect for the racetrack and the racing. I rarely saw trash on the ground. I rarely saw anything of the sorts. I saw pure respect and passion for motorsports and respect for the drivers and the facilities. So I don't think that you would have a similar camping situation like we see as far as trashing a place out like we do in the States. So we can show you the Eldora photos if you would like of what people have left that place looking like. It's disgusting, the disrespect that our fans have. But I think you need camping. I think you need it. I think you need that atmosphere that, wow, something's happening here, that people are willing to come and stay and live here for a couple of days. It's that important, really? I think it's important. Anyways, the Premier Speedway Classic is this week. We were there last year. We're going down under this year. People are still actually asking, come on, do it. I mean, it's not a cheap flight, guys. Money just it doesn't fall off the trees like some of these typical Americans, you know. And then the richer people are the bigger sponges than I ever was. It's crazy. And then I get the shit talk. I don't get it. You actually have a guy who doesn't have all the money in the world. Well, you got this other dude driving sprint cars and owning companies, and he's sponging 10 times as much off of you, but I get the shit. Okay. That's fine. Let's see here. What does the commenters got to say about any of this? The Classic is held in a rural town in Warrnambool. Plenty of room for camping on the west side of the track. Warrnambool depends on the speedway for money. Okay, so then why is that not happening? What's going on? They took it away. So there's a reason for that, guys. It ain't just because they hate you. Maybe it does have to do with the track there. Yes, I'm in Vermont. What's wrong with camping? Yes, I'm in Vermont. But we'll talent for talent if Chaz has it. What does that mean? Thunder Road is terrible after a race. Devil's Bow is spotless. Yeah, there is some bad people trash things out. AZ, Arizona Cowboy AZ. Tony Stewart is the GOAT. I don't see Kyle Larson strapping into 11,000 horsepower rocket ship on wheels. I think that Tony eventually will put Kyle in a drag car. I think that's the next step, honestly. Australia is becoming a nanny state where you can't do anything otherwise. The fun police will step in. Dean Henry says, are you going to Florida? Well, I mean, if money will fly in the bank account, we'll go anywhere. I mean, we just proved that for a Chili Bowl, even though it didn't necessarily make a damn dollar. If we can find viable ways to get down there, we will. I mean, I'm pretty sure I got a guy who will let me stay with him, so I don't have to pay for a damn hotel. I would just have to get down there, but I'd still have to live every day, still have to survive. I don't like. I'm getting tired of dependency-based traveling. It does kind of suck. I don't want to feel guilty in those ways. So I don't know. We'll see, though. We'll see. The guy down there who has a place for me to stay, he is camping at Volusia. He is from New Zealand, but unfortunately, he is going to have to leave the country. He was in the process of becoming an American citizen, but coming from Australia. But due to Trump, he no longer has that opportunity. So he will be leaving by this time next year. So this will be his last time to see Volusia race in America. And then he will be going back because of the laws that Trump has put in place or taken away, the opportunities that Trump has taken away. I really don't agree with the civil rights thing that he's taken away. I mean, I do and I don't. I get it's outdated. I know some of y'all have been paying attention to that, but Trump basically took away every damn civil rights action and thing that there was today. Apparently, federal governments now can't, they don't have to, basically, they can discriminate, basically. Although these are our archaic kind of rights, aren't they? We're not in 1960 anymore. I could see if we were in that day in society, we would need to act and put in something that mandates you interview people of color and diversity. But I could see how also in today's society that shit shouldn't matter, and we should be hiring the best people who are qualified and work the hardest and are the most skilled at any position in the entire government. So I understand why it's gone. I do think, however, there is a slight hint of left or of right-leaning roasting of the left that is happening in a way. Dalton Hearnsman just said you should go to Africa. Why would I do that? What does that have to do with anything I just explained? I don't understand what that means. I mean, it sounds like you're exposing your hidden racism potentially. Are you a Kyle Larson fan? Okay, so what does that have to do with removing civil rights and opportunity? Like I said, I could be upset about it if I wanted to, but I also once again see why that it's not really needed in today's society, personally. I say take take the race box off the deal completely. Yeah. And I think that's what I mean. In today's society, I don't think you need to force people to not be discriminatorily racist when it comes to positions and jobs. Although we do see a lot of hidden racism. So one race is always going to rise to the top in America, in meritocracy for a reason. So, with Dalton's comments here, we are seeing why the Civil Rights Act is still needed in society due to ideologies that are explained like he just did. Because in his opinion, he believes that one race should or is always going to rise to the top. So that would be an inherited bias. So hopefully he never gets into positions to make decisions on hiring people or not. Just pattern recognition. Okay, have you ever heard of the golden age of the past years? Or have you ever heard of the Egyptians or the Muslim kingdom that Muhammad reigned on that developed most every science and mathematician and calendar-based thinking we have today? So I really don't, you're coming from a state of idiocracy. Now, I do think that white people got really good at war, and they went around and whooped everybody's ass. So I think that's why we are the dominant race, because we studied war and killing and maiming and taking over. Colonization is mainly what we focused on, and we did a damn good job at it. We went around and whooped everybody's ass. Not all black people are bad. You just aren't being honest and acknowledging trends. Well, I made the point that we didn't go into care thinking, societally improving thinking. We didn't go into we didn't really put our efforts as white people into anything but divide and conquer. And we've been conquering for a long damn time. We went out, raped, and pillaged every damn place we can. Now, not to say that other people didn't, because this is my whole explanation or argument to Native Americans or tribes who say this is my land. Because, wait, how did it become your tribe's land? Because it looks like, based on history, that your tribe went around and raped and pillaged other tribes to take their property or territory. So was it the other tribes' land before you came in and kicked their ass and took it? And if we're going to ignore that because you were the winner of the battle, then maybe you should ignore the fact that we came in here and whooped your ass. And now we are the winners of the battle. And that's how you always, traditionally, throughout the world's history, took over land. And territory. All I'm saying is I do think white people focus really hard on that. So they focus really hard on colonization, war efforts, and things of the sort. There's more slaves in Africa today than during the transatlantic slave trade. The best doctor I ever had was from Nigeria. Dude was such a nice guy. Right. Nice guys. Good people. Good people. I'm sure that your doctor there would appreciate the fact that there used to be laws to protect the fact that there ain't people in positions of power and decision making that think or had the ideology that one race is always going to rise to the top in meritocracy. And that a meritocracy represented an opportunity for the best to actually rise up without having to face that ideology. Just saying. Somebody said, it's nice to hear someone say there's something nice about the white German male. I never get told enough. Yeah, the white man is very emotional. We are very emotional creatures. I think that is a generational trauma. If we do not make a lot of money, we are not appreciated in our own society. If we do not choose to divide and conquer along with the bad white people, we are rejected. And then, because of the actions of the bad white people, we are misjudged by non-white people as bad white people. So the normal white man has been rejected from its own society if it does not go out and destroy other society. If it sees a moral compass issue in the way that the leaders are doing things, it is discarded from most political or financial gains in that society, left with little to nothing in its possession. Therefore, is not attracted to most females in the patriarchal sense, because the value of the male is money and power. The value of the female is beauty. We're then manipulated into beauty and love, and almost in today's society, I would believe that we are manipulated into love as the main belief system, even above the belief of any mainstream religion. And since we're in the patriarchal society and we have the scenario that you just described, you don't get told that you're good enough. As your nice white German male, then you get rejected by everything under the word appreciation. And it leaves you in a state of feeling underappreciated and underachieved. Although to be an achiever within that society, you have to be evil, and your moral compass won't let you turn that way hard enough. It is a pretty fucked up cycle. But, you take it long enough, and then you fill in the circle for someone in there who will ruin that nice Nigerian doctor's opportunity. See, at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, we are dealing with a world full of good people and bad people. Don't matter if they're good white people, good Nigerian people, good women, good men, or bad white people, bad Nigerian people, bad women, bad men. This is a true battle between good and bad people, literally. And we're simply being manipulated into hating one another based on visual identities. I mean, it's that simple. That's the base separation tactic of human history, of mankind. Visual. Now, they got us split up in ideology now. They taught us this new religion called politics, and now we're posting it and thinking about it. No longer are we separated by white and black. We're separated by red and blue. Oh, they got a damn good science fiction game going. And then, to me, the biggest battle is male versus female. That's the bigger battle. That's what they're really trying to get you to get into battle with. or matriarchy / patriarchy, but I think it's male versus female. And that's why I think it's very demonic, you know, in a way. Even though, you know, Christianity could be called a patriarchal book, it still describes how the Creator created both of us. So if you can get the creation to turn on itself, that's a hell of a trick. That's one hell of a trick. And it's the demonic entity or entities has done a damn good job at getting the creation to turn on itself through racism, through sexism, through matriarchal beliefs, patriarchal beliefs, political now beliefs, monetized beliefs, all these things. And it's all in your mind, guys. That's the funny thing. It's all in what you think. This is why I say all the time, the biggest strength of the human being is the mind. They ain't trying to cage you. They already manipulated you into buying houses and going to work every day. They caged you good enough. They don't need you to be a slave. They don't have to whip you no more. They just give you a check at the end of the week. It's the same concept. They got jobs that they need done, and they just manipulated you into taking a couple pieces of paper to do it. And you think you have independence and choice. It's interesting how it operates. Interesting how it operates. Do people really want collars? Do y'all really want collars? I really don't think you do. Come on, racing. Yes, buy in. This is why racing is a part of the Roman Colosseum. Distract the peasants with the show. And they got all different forms of show. They developed more shows. Racing, which is the original chariots, because chariots and racing is the modern version. Racing is chariots. Football and the gladiators, basketball, you know, different flavors, golf, all these things, all these different things. Chaz, what's your IQ? I don't know. I took it like a couple years ago. It said like 192 or something. I don't even know. I'm not even going to say it's a number. I don't even know. What does it go up to, like 400? I don't know, but sometimes I'll be going on these talks and people are like, yeah, have you ever read Socrates? That's exactly what he said. I'm like, no, who's that? I don't know who these guys are. But apparently sometimes I am just saying what I think and I'm literally quoting like Greek philosophers or something. Kind of creepy, to be honest. Let's see here. Live calls. Oh, my God. Do we do it? Oh, my God. Oh, no. Somebody just texted me. Kyle Larson should have been sent to the back at bringing out a caution. You sent to the back at every track in the USA. Wow, somebody texted that while we were offline. The lines are open, ladies and gentlemen. Somebody said, imagine Caesar in a sprint car. Chaz is a foundational thinker of Western society. Oh, I'm interested. What is foundational thinker in Western society? I'm interested on that terminology. I mean, I've heard the Eastern society version, which in my opinion is extreme patriarchal. I believe in a balance, which would be like everybody listens and chips in and builds for the greater. But then that's kind of globalism, right? They manipulated caring and goodness for one another into a socialist, globalist ideology. We do have the callers. Calls are open. We're waiting for our first caller. That is the number, 423-616-7673. Call in. Somebody said that's who Socrates is. I know that I've heard this Socrates. I've heard that a couple times when I do these random speaks and thoughts. I have heard this. Oh, we had a 717. It came and went. Let's see if we can get him back. Oh, shit. That's loud.
Oh, there we go. You got a copy?
Hello. Is this Socrates?
No, it's not, but it's
Damn.
Dusty from Pennsylvania.
Oh, my God. Well, you're close. Close to Socrates. Y'all about 100 years in the past. What's up?
Oh, not much. Didn't have a call, so I'm like, I might call in a little bit. I know we got some stuff going on in PA that was causing tension. I know we talked, well, not we, but I know you talked about it. Whole thing with Sealands Grove happening, bunch of different driver swaps, stuff like that was going on. I don't know if you were talking about earlier. I kind of joined the call or joined the live a little late, but the whole thing with the Outlaws, I mean, do you think that is there a surprise to you that they're kind of adding more and more drivers? Because to me, it seems like High Limit is kind of more of an appealing deal to guys that want to do a series. But, like, do you think that it's surprising that the Outlaws are still getting drivers?
I think that to the fan, High Limit is more appealing, but to the drivers in the industry, they're not. I think I think what's happening as well, I think what's honestly happening, here's what's happening. If going to High Limit and getting one of these charters, which is this mystery allure that seems to be out there to go High Limit, why did Roth Motorsports, or why seemingly has Roth Motorsports won a charter and literally just not even going to race and claim it?
Yeah, it is pretty intense, and I'm surprised about that too. Because it's like, I mean, it makes sense for Copeland to stick around with the Outlaws, and it's just surprising that Roth doesn't have a second 83 car running
right
with High Limit, at least having some reputable. No, it does. But the thing
if
is,
the charter is so valuable, why wouldn't they just throw somebody in there or do one of these new, I guess they're renting cars out now. That's the new thing for national sprint car racing. Why not just rent it out? Why not throw Chase Randall? I said Chase Randall on that ride was a match made in heaven. Apparently they don't believe. Hell, even a Jade Avedisian or somebody, give her a year of experience with a guaranteed charter ride. I don't understand, but I think that the outside people are seeing that situation happen and saying, hey, this charter deal must suck, or it's not valuable enough to just compete a year. Like the other guys would have to come in here and race their ass off to get one of these charter spots that is the allure to go High Limit. And you got a team there who's got one and won't even just go and run to claim it.
Yeah, and it was surprising that I think Marks took a while, I guess, to quote-unquote decide that he was going to go back to High Limit too. Because I think that, you know, like obviously a lot of drivers like in October, November-ish, like they were like, hey, going High Limit again, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I know Mark specifically, he like pushed it out to like damn near Christmas, I think. Something like that.
Well, like,
I think he's another guy that's in the charter spot too. So I'm not sure what it would be specifically there as far as the charters go, because I don't know the whole deal there. But I will say this, like I feel like drivers like Brett Marks, maybe even guys like Tyler Courtney, Justin Peck, they wouldn't dare to do an 80-something outlaw schedule. I mean, they kind of end up doing, 70, 80 races, but I feel like a lot of the guys in High Limit, I feel like it's appealing to drivers because it's not as many races as the Outlaws. And I think, like, for example, I remember Jacob Allen kind of talking about it, how he was kind of went High Limit because a little bit less racing, a little bit more time away from the track and stuff. And I feel like in some ways more than not, that's a benefit too.
Well, I've also heard from people that apparel is 10 times easier to sell at a World of Outlaw event than it is with High Limit, because at High Limit you have to compete against Kyle a lot. You have to compete against Rico every time. And these are some big money takers in the apparel department. And most of the time, the people coming out are big fans of Kyle Larson and Rico. Those are probably their two biggest draws fan-wise. Whereas I think that is where the World of Outlaws brand does come into a factor to bring more of a balanced fan base to the racetrack, because people are still technically coming to watch the World of Outlaws. Yeah, there's some big gravel fans and Sheldon fans, and there's some traditional Donnies and all that, but there are people still just coming to a World of Outlaws sprint car event, and I think that helps a lot in the apparel department.
Yeah. I mean, that checks out. It makes sense. I just think that, well, yeah. I mean, it's like the whole thing, though, like with merch in general. I mean, I don't know if they're still doing this. Like, do you know like what it would be with any series? Like, are they taking specific merchandise from one, like say like High Limit? Do they take like a percentage, or even the outlets take a percentage of like the merchandise sales, or like certain number off the top of having a merchandise trailer at an event?
I would have to go ask in details, but from my understanding, there's not, unless you are a non-outlaw driver. Like, that's one of the perks of being an outlaw driver, is you're guaranteed a platinum T-shirt trailer spot, and it's on the house at every single outlaw event. And I believe it's the same kind of style of a deal with High Limit. I know if you're like an outside guy and you want to set up in their merchandise row or whatever, you probably, I believe you have to pay. But yeah, I just think that High Limit and the apparel department's huge. Not everybody can win. I just think that a lot of drivers and people are viewing this as an apparel merchandise thing more so than a winning, competing thing. And they think they have a better shot going after World of Outlaw fans than they do with High Limit fans.
That makes sense, because it is strange, because I've always thought of it, like, for example, like Zierfoss, he kind of, thugged it out for 3 years, didn't really do a damn thing, as far as being competitive. I mean, he had a couple of moments where he might have had, a little bit of life, but not a whole lot. It was a pretty dim 3 years he had. And then you have guys like, maybe Skylar G and Williamson coming in. And don't get me wrong, they're not bad drivers, but it's like, they probably won't be, top tier drivers, especially right away in the series, competing for a championship. So I guess I've always kind of wondered about that, like how some of these drivers in general even just have the bank account to do it.
Well, and you do have your tow fees that add up significantly. You do have your kind of appearance money, platinum agreement money, your championship points fund. And then another perk is when you become an outlaw driver, you get a lot of hand-me-downs from other teams. We heard about, the Allen and Shark Racing getting a lot of hand-me-downs. I've heard that Sides' team gets potentially some hand-me-downs from other premium teams that they're buddies with, and the series obviously wants them to have a roster. They need some lap cars out there. So, I mean, High Limit, somebody just put, World of Outlaws the same way, top 5 every effing night. It's true. It's true. I just think that the drivers the fans coming to a High Limit event, there's only so many that you're coming to see. It's not like High Limit's got a brand. You're not going to a High Limit race to see the High Limit sprint cars. You're going to the High Limit race to see Kyle Larson, Rico, and outside of PA, who?
Yeah.
Who are fans coming to see in the High Limit Racing Series? Seriously. Tyler Courtney?
Yeah. There might be some slugs out there that might, but that's not. Yeah, it's not going to be enough for it to be like a relevant movement or anything.
Right.
So yeah, because I know, like, obviously here in PA, I mean, you'll have people go up to the High Limit trailers or the Outlaw trailers and stuff, but majority of the time everybody's got PA merch on.
Right.
And I know that there's a lot of times in particular where, like, I know High Limit went to a bunch of different places last year, and they were at tracks, and it's like they're not even like the main showing there. There might be late models or something instead, and it's like no one gives a damn because that's not sprint car country, not an area where sprint cars are popular. They have a low car count or whatever, and it's like, how is there even money being made? It just baffles me.
Well, and I do think that the perception that Flow is kind of lifelining the series is a thing, and then maybe that's why the charter really isn't an alluring deal, because it's kind of a paper napkin agreement. They're supposed to split some of the revenue that the series and the streaming is collecting. Well, what is that? It's a big fucking question mark.
Yeah, exactly. It is, because here's the thing, right? So I got Flow last year, obviously, when High Limit came out, and I just watched Flow for the sprint car stuff all summer. So here in the fall, I use Flow for another thing now, because Flow Sports picked up AHL, which is the American Hockey League, like the league below the NHL for hockey. They stream everything else, like all of those AHL games. So now I have Flow for two purposes. And it's like, I'm watching it for ice hockey, I'm watching it for sprint car racing, for high limit, and other dirt racing stuff too. But it's like, you know, like how is that even divided up? How is that even like how is Flow Race going to know what my account is using and distribute whatever funds however, like that doesn't make sense to me in general, because like what you said, like that whole paper napkin agreement, it doesn't make sense to me either. But I feel like in theory, if it's set in stone and put in paper, it would work, and maybe it would be more appealing. But yeah,
well,
and
you got to figure out like obviously there's guys who are watching the late models in this, but obviously you know Chili Bowl this last week. I mean, could you contribute that money to how are you going to say who's what? You know, you have a situation too where you got, you know, that Florentini guy or whatever it is, spaghetti guy, talking about how, you know, they have 100,000 unique streamers. Okay, so are you saying that those 100,000 unique streamers, how much of a percentage of those people are you contributing to the revenue, you know, and then how much of a percentage of that revenue is going to be going to the teams? You know, so it's like it's a moving revenue stream that no one has an answer to of what it's worth.
Yeah, there's no numbers to it right now.
Right. At least when you go the Outlaws, there ain't no charter shit, ain't no nothing shit. Here's what you're getting. Here's the deal. Here's the points fund. Here's what you get when you show up to the race, the next race, end of the year. Done. Simple.
Yeah, more cut and dry. Yeah.
Yeah, and small business world loves that. Small business wants to know how much is it and how much can I sell it for, you know? I mean, that's and I think that charter system, high limit deal, don't have the what can I sell it for, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because it's like they talk about it very little, like very seldom. They even bring it up during like the broadcast last year, and it's like, you know, it's like why isn't that? Why is it sell point? And it makes sense. It's not, because it's just not really going to be a thing. So
right, and like somebody just said, I wonder how much Port Royal gets for being on Flow. Right, so we know all these people talk to the drivers, and people talk. So you got to assume that the drivers know how much Port Royal are getting. You know, so then if you get to this, imagine that, you know, you get to the end of the year 2026 and people get their charter membership checks and they're this like low number. You know, it's like, wait, I got how much?
Yeah, it's going to be a lot lower than, yeah.
Or a lot higher. Like I said, you can't tell me. Can't tell me what it's worth.
Right.
And then once again, if it was all this special and projection and thought and belief, why is there a team with a fucking charter spot not even just fill in a gap for a year and claiming their charter that they won? Why not put Jade Abedisian in the Roth car for a year? Call it a developmental gig, you know, and then bam. You'd sell a hell of a lot of T-shirts. She'd be a draw, I would think.
Yeah, merchandise sale. Yeah, how about that? As if we haven't had enough of those. But I mean, that's not to take nothing away from her. I mean, she's definitely a talented driver, obviously, especially with the wingless stuff.
Well, she's the best woman prospect right now, or female prospect.
Right.
So,
right. But I think the issue is, regardless of what you are, I mean, if you're still a young prospect, don't have the experience, you shouldn't be in a position to do something like that, because that could hurt your career, you know?
Well, yeah, but everybody would expect her to suck. So it's the perfect scenario. You get 1 year to suck, and you claim a charter that's supposed to be worth all this special shit that no one knows it's worth. I think that's why you got guys going the Outlaw right there. You know, I think that's the answer right there.
Pretty much. So, yeah. That checks out.
But anyway.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I've been working to get some, met up some old friends from high school and whatever. They're like, hey, man, you see sprint car racing? Like, you still good at that stuff? Well, heck yeah. Like, yeah, I want to check it out. So I'm trying to bring more friends and people that I know to the racetrack, doing God's work out here a little bit. So.
Well, at least in PA, you can just go to regular weekly action and have something consistent that's relatively good.
Yeah. No, for sure, man. Yeah, we're definitely a little blessed here, because I know I always talk about, you know, like I want to, you know, ditch PA and leave all this shit because the weather sucks and whatever, and, you know, higher taxes and all that. But then it's like when springtime rolls around and there's third track race, it's like, you know what? It ain't too bad over here. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But
Well, at the same time, your winters aren't that bad. They're cold, but they ain't like over here in Iowa, -10 degree with -40 wind chill shit. Fuck all of that.
Right.
PA don't even get close to that.
No. We might have a couple of days where it's like I think we're at like 0 or something right now even, but it's not, it's nothing where it's like holy shit, like it's can't go outside for more than 2 minutes or else you'll freeze up and shit.
Right.
Like we're not in an awful spot, but yeah, I'm looking forward to getting this shit back up and running. I'm can't ready to just go to a dirt track again. I'm fucking missing it.
Right. I thought I would miss it when I went down to Chili Bowl, and I thought I'd just be nice and have fun, but then they fucking pulled this, that, and the other, and bastards.
Well, didn't you get kicked out a couple years ago, or am I mistaken?
Out of the shootout, I got kicked out, over Brexton Bush being offered a provisional, and I basically stopped it. That's how I'll see it, and that's why I was kicked out, technically.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I guess I don't know how much the Bushes paid for that one.
Well, they reneged it after about 45 minutes of the shit stir causing the bomb to go off and stopping it from happening. And then that's when they kicked me out of the building. But this year was just crazy how they was flip flopping on the tire deal, and then obviously the banner situation. I just couldn't believe that Dirt Tracker and Jeremy came out with this whole one lap. I felt like it was a colluded effort to push this. The banner was only on the track for one lap theory, and just attack my complaints and others' complaints. And then I was buying it, and then the commenter literally showed me the other video where it shows straight up that banner on the track 4 straight fucking laps. And they popped that caution right as his ass hits the wall and comes off of it. Right as he did it. It's just...
Damn.
Come on, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. But I think it's true. I think people see Kyle Larson as the star of dirt track racing. And I think everybody who's in every position that they are in this sport is a fan of the sport first. And they're a fan of dirt track racing. So why would you do anything to stop the star quarterback from winning the game?
Right. It only makes sense. It's like Tom Brady with all them Super Bowls. I'm not a football guy, but like that shit. And the whole thing now with Swift and Kelsey, and then Kelsey and the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl how many times already?
Well,
it's like. And
in this instance, the referees of our game are Chief fans.
Yeah. Yep.
That's
they want the higher up to succeed because it's more profit for them, or at least more. Yeah.
Right.
No, it's corrupt. It's corrupt because it's not about the little guy making it big anymore. It's not about a good story. It's always about money, and it's always about the one that's conquering to continue to conquer and conquer and conquer.
Well, and then now after seeing that between Elliott and Dirt Tracker, that was like even another bigger line in the sand for me. It's like, whoa, this is how CNN and Fox News and all these stations can take narratives and push them as real and factual. As long as you have a few people get together and lead with the same type of narrative, it's believed. There's still people right now, a lot of people, that believe that banner was only on the track for one lap because of what they told them.
Yeah.
Even though we literally have video evidence of that being a complete lie.
Mm-hmm.
But there's people who believe it now. In fact, I was arguing with them on Facebook today, actually. Literally still yelling and arguing, you're a liar. It was only on there for one lap. Dirt Tracker told me. That's scary as fuck.
Yeah. It can change. Anything can change just like that. Anything. They can make anything out to be whatever they want. It's crazy, isn't it?
Well, but that's why they play how they play with their games. They don't get on the camera and say what they think. They fucking write it out, P and Q's it, makes it all nice and package it to where it doesn't offend anybody. It's just nice little rose-colored glasses video every day. and most of the sheep they're wolves in sheep's fucking clothing. They make money on sheeps. Their views are sheeple. They eat their minds alive. You know, so I don't make money on sheep. They do. You know, and their sheep bad like a motherfucker. You know.
Yeah.
So
they all try and, you know, they try and make their stuff look a little, you know, glossy, professional and all that. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's like, you know, sometimes it's a little bit to an extent where it's like, okay, like it's a little too good. You know what I mean?
They proved it to me that they were wolves when they've been bad and all this time, just like a sheep, being P and Q nice guy every day. And then once a narrative came up that they needed to push, they all went with the plan.
Yep. All went with it.
Colluded effort. In my opinion, colluded effort. How you going to have Jeremy Elliott and Dirt Tracker come out with the same narrative of one lap? Collusion.
It's like that whole thing with 9/11. Did you ever see that video? There's a video on YouTube where it shows all these different news stations. They talk about, oh, it's a beautiful morning. It's a quiet morning, almost too quiet. And every single news anchor on the morning of 9/11 all said that.
Yeah.
They all said the same thing. It's nuts.
Yeah. And then people somehow call this a Larson thing. People somehow call this thing I have a Larson thing, like the commenter. Honest mistake, Chaz. Get Larson out of your head. The honest mistake ain't the problem here. Kyle Larson's talent is not being questioned in this instant. It's the decisions and choices, and then Dirt Tracker and Jeremy Elliott falsifying and manipulating information to provide false evidence or a false theory. They call our shit conspiracy theories. They provided false and manipulative information to create a theory that was a lie. What kind of theory do you call that? It's not a conspiracy theory. They're not saying that two people conspired for a result. Like, they're not saying that the official was a Kyle Larson fan and pulled the yellow flag, but they are saying 100% false lie. 100% lie, a theory that is a lie. It doesn't have to do with conspiring for something, but it's a straight lie.
Yep.
What kind of theory is that? I guess I can use his word, a shill theory. But then that's the fucked up part. We got these words like conspiracy theories or conspiracy or shills and shill theory.
And they get thrown around way too much too.
Yeah,
everybody labels everything conspiracy when just because people don't do research on something.
Yeah, it's a defamational label. At this point, it's a defamational label. When they say conspiracy theory, you people believing your conspiracy theory, it makes you feel like you're doing something bad for thinking for yourself.
Yeah.
And seeing go ahead.
I was going to say, it's like a bad thing. God forbid you think for yourself and use your head when you, or your own eyes instead of using somebody else's, because that's all it is. It's all about that narrative. They got to push that message, you know?
Right.
If they can't get that message out, then, you know, they're not going to be able to like survive or something. It's like they have to just push what they are either told to push from. It's like a deep state, you know?
Right. And then, and then he wants to call himself a shill. I mean, okay, so, and that made me think, well, fuck, shill is like their guard now. The word shill, that used to be like a underground phrase for somebody shilling. I mean, I would call it like gatekeeper, but although these are all like phrases in the conspiracy theory world. So it's like a way to make you look stupid for thinking about what potentially happened. But then it's also like a shield to protect them and their narrative for not saying it's a conspiring-based situation.
Yeah.
But then they use false information to manipulate it and lie about it and say that they're being, I don't know, it can't be fair. I mean, what is it? What do we call it?
Well, it's fair if they're conducting it because it's their own, you know, it's their whole it's again, it's their whole narrative, that they have to. It's fair to them because it's their rules and it's their rules how they go along with it,
Right. Well, and
That's
even
how it
when
changes.
even when the Chili Bowl guy messaged me today, I mean, I told him, I was like, because he's like, you could just call and talk to somebody and they could tell you all the information you need. I'm like, bro, first of all, thanks. I get what you're trying to say, but I've already tried that route and been lied to.
Yeah.
You
Because
know,
they'll just tell you, they'll
yeah,
just tell you what
you're just
they
gonna
are going to tell you.
you're gonna cheat on me with my girlfriend and tell me you're doing it. Really?
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty much what it is. Yeah.
You're that good of a guy. Yeah, it's pretty sad.
It is, man. Well, I'll get offline. We'll get someone else in here for you. But
Somebody said the officials on the infield had to see the banner even if the tire couldn't. I think that is the issue that missed. No, we showed the video where the flagman is pointing at the banner 3 laps prior to the caution being waved. There was no unknowing banner on the track. None unknowing.
and I was
The banner did not change. The banner stayed the same. They raced over it. It was cut from the same point for 2 solid laps prior. The only thing that changed in that lap that caution was thrown was that Kyle Larson hit the fucking wall and started to spin out towards the infield. And then they threw the caution. So the cause wasn't the banner, because if you're saying the cause is the banner's the cause of the caution, the banner was already there and it did not cause a caution. The only thing that caused the caution was Kyle Larson wrecking.
right. And here's the thing that people have to understand too. Like, I've noticed this specifically the last time I was at Port. I was there for the Tusky last fall or whatever. Every time there was a wreck on the first lap, they would always make sure that cars would reach like past the halfway point of the track so they could throw a caution out, just so they can count a lap. Or I forget how it was specifically, but every time like there was a wreck on turn 3 or 4 after 1 or 2 laps, they made sure that like the rest of the field passed the finish line before they put the caution out. And it's like this kind of stuff. Now, I don't know what specifically would have been rigged there, but that kind of stuff happens all the time, where they'll be like, "Oh, we didn't see that right away. Now we'll put the caution lights out." Or, "Oh, we did."
Well, and then other people are saying, so it was a mistake caution. So you want him to go to the back? He didn't come to a stop. We already had people commenting how they saw people in the Chili Bowl and the shootout go up on the cushion, almost come to a stop, not come to a stop, keep going, and these other guys who aren't names got put to the back. And then, because we're over here complaining about people getting treated fairly in a supposed sport by people, and wanting our officials or referees who are supposed to be black and white with the entire field playing in this fucked off gray area, we have this gray area excuse that came out after the Kevin Now stuff that this commenter just put. He said, look at it from a sprint car fan. It's easy to get mad about the BS. But looking through the lens, looking through the series owners and event sponsors having big names do good attracts more fans. So what do? Oh. Okay, so if that's the reason, like the excuses with the Kevin Now, we heard it from all over the country. Chaz, this thing happens all the time. Certain names, they need them there. They need them for fans and blah, 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 blah. Okay. Well, then, if that's the truth, if that's the truth, and the Chili Bowl was sad, this was the funny thing about Dirt Tractor's excuse, is he tried to sit there and say, oh, the Chili Bowl, they just had their issue with Larson. He left the event and boycotted the event. Yeah, and he came back, and they got more attention for it, and they don't ever want to risk losing him again.
God forbid, right?
Right.
It survived probably to survive without him today. And that's, that's just being real about it. I mean, that's for any big name, I mean, like the thing is, like, whether Kyle Larson is, if he's there, if he's winning or if he's not winning, he's there and he's bringing in numbers regardless, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But if it's going to be favored in that way,
if you throw the caution and you deem him as fault like you did these other little guys and you send him to the back, he coming back now?
Right.
We already saw Paul Silva and them pull out of the race or whatever, the sprint car race, when they were loud on the scales. They were loud on the scales, and they didn't race the early portion of the Saturday night event at Merced.
Right.
So you got guys that if you pop them, they won't race your events.
Yeah.
And that was the justification in the Kevin Now still from the whole society of the dirt track world, that there's some guys that do get slides because we need cars.
Yeah. That's twisted. Definitely shouldn't be like that.
And then I get
that's
insulted.
The way it is.
Yeah, and I get insulted. Are you a secret Larson stan? Because I'm asking or advocating for fairness in the sport. Unfucking believable.
Dude,
unfucking believable.
I think it was 2023. I went to Grandview for High Limit. That was before it was like a national series. They were just doing like the money shit during the week, like when Larson and Sweet were getting it up and running. Majority of the people there, it was a packed house, dude, and 95% of the people were wearing Larson shirts. I couldn't believe it. Mm-hmm. And I'm talking like don't get me wrong, good to see the crowd, good to see all the families. There was some families with kids and all that, but they were all wearing Larson NASCAR stuff.
Right.
And it's just like, I mean, it's great that, again, the people are there, but it's just like, that's sick. Like it's a little crazy, Like God forbid there's someone else of all people, Larson, had more shirts in the crowd than Lance DeWeese in PA, but like, it was ridiculous to see. And then I remember going to, I think it was the Weichert earlier. I think it was one of the port races. I can't remember. I was sitting behind a family, all had Larson NASCAR shirts on. And I'm like, Larson ain't even fucking here, bro. Like, what?
Right.
Like, that's like, it's like, I don't know.
Well, and that's why they're pulling this shit. And that's why they're justifying it privately, but they ain't going to come out and tell you this shit. Somebody just said Merced was a horrible track. Silva wasn't going to waste good cars from the rear, but you would have wasted them from the front? Oh, so if it's not easy for you, if you don't have an advantage on the field, you won't do it, huh?
And what's the right? Yeah. Yeah.
So you're telling me you need an advantage on the field to compete. Okay. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's almost like I need that unfair advantage to be relevant and to make your race relevant or something. It's
now, of course, Larson raced the Saturday night program. It was a two event 1 day show. But I mean, regardless, is rules. I guess they are, but rules for thee, not for me. I guess. And I had pictures of. I had pictures of Larson with the damn watch on his wrist still. It's in the Chili Bowl rules. Yeah. You can't have the watch, although it's a heart rate monitor. When me and Broke Joe researched the one he had in Victory Lane at Gold Cup 2 years ago, it was a Garmin, and it did have the ability to send and receive messages. So, right. I mean, once again, the way you signal with a watch, you don't have to look at it. All you have to do is signal it and set it to vibrate. 2 vibrates is low, or 1 vibrates high. I mean,
it's not hard to set that stuff up.
No.
Yeah.
It's simple.
Yeah.
But it's okay. It's okay. But that's because the whole industry is a fan. Once again, this is my point. Everyone in the industry, your big money sponsors, your track owners, your fans who have worked into officiating positions, your racers who have now became fans, they're all, or your racers who have now became officials, they're all just fans. Yeah. And if you're a fan of the sport, you're almost like that 95% in the crowd that you described.
You're not going to see the problem.
Yeah. You only see the problem in this guy talking shit and talking how, my guy didn't deserve to win. I'm a Bills fan in Kansas City Chiefs Arrowhead Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
And this dirt track world is the stadium. I'm bitching about the quarterback getting calls. I look like a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Well, I look like a Larson stan to these people. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good because you're not a sheep like everybody else,
Right.
It's like you're not that guy that you'll speak out and it's like everyone thinks you do because the people that you're around. I know exactly what that feeling is because I go to college and I don't agree with the politics that I go to college with. If that makes sense. Everybody is all stuck in their own little world of this world of wokeism. I'm not going to get into it, but like, you know, I had to do a presentation and I talked about how DEI was a bad thing, and I got heat from everybody in that class. You know, and everyone thought that I was stupid. And I'm like, well, I got all the statistics right here saying that I'm not. So what are you going to do? And then everyone all, you know, attack me personally because that's all they have.
Right.
That's all anybody has when you write about stuff. They won't attack you for your beliefs. They'll attack you for who you are. That's how it works.
Oh, 100%.
And anytime someone attacks, you know, you for what you believe in, when you have evidence to prove it, that just means that you're right about it. So all they're just telling you is, hey, you're right, but I don't like that you agree, that you figured that out. That's all it is. You know?
Right.
It's twisted, dude. It's twisted. But yeah. No, I definitely, I'm kind of, you know, don't get me wrong. It's okay to see Larson on a dirt track. And hey, if he wins, he wins. But it's just like, I'm not someone that, you know, I don't like to see the corruption and all of that when it comes to just like you said, you know, Silva showing over the car, runs a little light, and then they threaten to pack up and stuff. That's nonsense, dude. That's ridiculous.
Or then, well, they don't threaten to pack up. They literally do pack up for the early portion of the event.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to thank Valor Motorsports. He just bought everybody memberships, or some people memberships here. I don't know if he applied one to y'all, but he did just gift 5 Chaz memberships, which we explained earlier. We're trying to do these lives live and free, but then after a day, we're going to put them to members only, so that we can try to generate more monthly, you know, general reoccurring income. So y'all were just gifted the right to do that right now. So that's. Did you get left out? Which one were you? He may have to buy you one.
Yeah, I'm Dusty C. No, I didn't get one, but
damn, Valor.
Yeah.
Damn. Horrible. You're gonna have to buy him another one. No, I'm just kidding. But it looks like Wesley Shaw hammer down, Philip Buccini, Rocco DeVita, and PMG was gifted. Oh, it's random picks. It said it randomly picked these guys. So y'all won the Chaz membership lottery, I guess.
That's cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
But no, the plan is I'm going to do these lives. They're going to be free and then live. And then the next day, probably by noon or something, I'll put them to where it's memberships only. And then the members can go back and watch the full show. But I'll still put out the little sub clips and all those things as free. So
yeah. No, that's cool.
So anyway, I guess you want to get off of here. I'm sure it sounds like you're backing her down, but.
Nah, a little bit. You're good. Yeah, I'll get off for now. I'll get someone else in here. Talk about whatever. But I'll definitely call in at some point again when I'm able to, for sure.
Okay. So. Well, thanks for. One question though: How do you feel about Trump rolling back? Not just the DEI stuff. I get that, but also like the Civil Rights Act, so 64, and he's went a little too far, maybe. I mean, maybe he's baiting the youth. He knows that the left's going to go crazy with some of these things, and so he's baiting them.
So here's the thing: the left went crazy in many occasions, and I know this because I did actually this specific.
Well, it went too yin and too yang is what happened, you know. So it went so far one way, it's coming back the other. But he don't have to do that. He knows what he's doing. That's my point.
Right. But in order to make a significant impact in the 4 years he's got, because he's only got 4 years to do it, he's going to have to do the extreme measures that it's going to take. And
but what is taking away the Civil Rights Act in 1965 doing to make any impact, but to just piss people off? You know, it's not like it's a new generation DEI program. You know, it's not of the sorts.
Right, but taking that away then, because that blurs the lines of DEI hiring and all of that stuff, and because DEI is discrimination. Whether we want to agree with it or not, DEI is discrimination. Yeah. So,
and I did see
getting rid of that is, so getting rid of that is making it a equal playing field, strictly. There's no, this is still in play because blah, blah, blah. No, there's none of that. So,
and that's what I said. Maybe those laws that were in there were needed in the 60s. But you know, in today's society, not necessarily true.
Right.
You know,
right. Because I would agree, because, like, for example, because I'm a big Philadelphia Flyers fan. We had a black player. His name was Wayne Simmons. He retired, I think, now. But a couple years ago, like, he was obviously a great player, scored a bunch of goals. You know, if people were truly racist, when he scored a goal, why did the entire arena erupt just like it was anybody else? You know? Racism isn't really an issue like people make it out to be. That's just all politically charged statements that people like to label each other for when they actually make a valid point on something.
Well, I mean, I would like to say that, but I mean, you know, I was explaining that earlier. You know, you had the one guy who said there's only one race who rises to the top of meritocracy. It's like if there's people in those positions that view or think that way, then they're inherently biased in a way.
Yeah, they're in the wrong.
Right. So how do those guys? And I think that's what those laws were for. So how do we regulate those guys going forward now?
Well, I mean, in a way, why would? Are you talking about like kind of like what, like as far as like certain people rising to the top because of like what, just their race and their like
no, some people who are up in there who have a inherited belief, like the commenter earlier, who thinks that only one race can rise to the top of meritocracy. So they're inherently going to choose people who are of white race. So how do you regulate those people to not just choose somebody who's white, who's good? How do you make it an even playing field when you got people with inhibited thoughts and ideology?
Well, here's the thing. It's either that or it's, hey, we're going to hire solely based on color, you know?
We'd like somebody to be all like you or me who is just normal, good white guys, but they're not all good, normal white guys out there, you know?
Right. Well, here's the thing. Like, I'll tell you this straight up, and this might, well, I mean, obviously you don't know what I look like now, but I'm half Puerto Rican. I look white, but I'm half Puerto Rican. So everybody thinks I'm white. So anytime I speak up politics, they just think I'm some white guy. I tell them I'm Puerto Rican, and they're like, well, how are you far right? There's no way. Like, how are they benefiting you in any way? You know, I get discriminated as is just because I look white, you know? I mean, I'm half, but, like, you know, I look like a straight white guy. That's it. I just look like some, you know, some Joe Schmo that just whatever. But, you know, the discrimination is always going to be there regardless. I think that when it comes to jobs in particular and hiring people, as far as hiring based on, like, individual merit, that should be the primary qualifier. But it's like, regardless of what race you are, if you're a majority race, minority race, you know, people could still go for a minority person just because they might be from the same ethnicity. You know, I've seen that too. And I'll be honest with you, a couple of years ago, I've been a victim of DEI hire in particular. I was overlooked just because I wasn't female or I wasn't African American for a job. That's literally it. Because I know I followed on social media who they hired, and it wasn't anybody that was white or looked white, you know?
Well, and that's the provisions that force one swing of the mantle to the other, you know. So it's like you just would think, or you would hope that the people who are in charge, like a Trump, for instance, would recognize the hard swing to one way and wouldn't just hard swing the other direction and would actually try to just equal out the swing instead of just swing back, instead of just straight fight it. You know, and instead of just trying to go extreme, adding some style of rationality to where it's more equal, you know, not being as bitter. Although we should have never thought that Trump would not be bitter, correct? I mean, we're talking about somebody who's known for being a ruthless game show host, technically.
Right. I mean, we could argue that point as being strictly Hollywood, but I can tell you this, like, you know, it's like you said about the pendulum example earlier. The pendulum has to swing both ways before it's in the middle, you know?
Why does it have to, though?
Because it's a pendulum.
I know, but why does it have to? Shouldn't we be smart enough to see it coming?
Well, unfortunately, we're not, because every couple of years, half the world, or at least half our country in particular politics, decides that we forget about what happened 4 years ago, you know? And because of that, we need to have a point in time where within a couple of years, hopefully in the first portion of Trump's term here, where there's drastic change being made, that we people can see, okay, well, this is happening, so let's find that common ground in the middle. See, I look at Trump this way, right? obviously you have Biden. He screwed up everything that Trump kind of fixed, or at least, helped resolve a lot of problems, right? Biden screwed up all these things, okay? Trump is going to be the guy that solves the problems, but he's not going to be able to find the solutions. Does that make sense? Like, for example, when it comes to immigration, right? You look at immigration, for example, Trump's like, yeah, build a wall, deport everybody, whatever. And for right now, that's what we need, because that's a good thing. But, like, for example, let's say J.D. Vance is the president in 2028, he gets elected. His job then for immigration is to maybe make the immigration system better for people that are legitimately good individuals trying to come into this country for a better life.
Like his wife.
Because, for example, right. Because, like, for example, like, I think it's 10 to 14 years that people have to be in this country before they actually can get legal citizenship.
Yeah.
I mean, for good people, and a lot of people that are, hardworking individuals that are deserving of citizenship don't deserve to wait that long. I think that's BS.
Right. Well, and then they're also having to wait that long due to the influx of illegal immigration. They're getting put behind another line because of the bullshit.
Exactly. So that's why I say that Trump is the problem solver. He's not the solution guy, but he's going to solve the problems first before we find the solution to it. Trump isn't going to be, I know he says about the golden age of America, we're going to get to that. He's just not going to be the president to get us there, but he's going to be the guy that's going to get us on that track. Does that make sense?
I mean,
so while things might seem extreme right now, it's for a good purpose, because especially like with immigration, for example, like we're talking about, that's going to help solve a lot of issues going forward.
I get it, but there's just so much smoke screening in politics when it comes to actual business. I don't know how much I believe these puppets on the screen. For instance, let me give you an example. I drove probably 200,000 miles between 2018 and 19.
Yeah.
I knew going between different states kind of so much how much the gas prices was between certain states. Like if I was in Iowa and the gas was $2.87, then I knew that in Oklahoma it was $1.90 or something. Like I knew the differences between the states. Obviously COVID happens. Everybody gets locked inside. All this happens. Biden comes in. Gas prices going up. Oh my God, they haven't gone down. Okay, so for instance, you go back on the road like I did just with the Chili Bowl. The gas prices are only about 10 to 15 cents difference. When in 2018 and 2019, the difference was almost $1. So, for those who know how gas operates, there's two taxes in the gas. There's a federal gas tax that is flat across the board. The entire nation is under one gas tax percentage, the federal tax. The other tax system on there that makes your gas different, this is technically what makes the difference in the different states' gas, is the state tax on gasoline sales. So, my point is, while all these people were battling and blaming Joe Biden and Trump and all this for the gas prices, no, motherfuckers. We're a nation of failing economical system, and these fucking politicians, while they were smoke screening your ass with this debate on Biden or somebody left is causing it, they were in the backs signing taxes onto your state fucking gasoline prices and raking in your cash while you blame the puppet on the television screen. That's what I see. So I get what you're saying. I get that you're not buying the show, but you're watching a show and you're believing in my opinion, characters that are playing it. But I've just seen this show manipulate people a lot. I've seen it be a magician act where it's look this way while we're doing this over here behind your back.
Yeah, it's a fair point to make. I mean, it's like what Jimmy Carter's. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Both sides definitely play. They all still do, regardless of who it is. But it's like not Joe Biden's funeral, Jimmy Carter's funeral. How you saw Trump and Obama talking the whole time. The news wouldn't shut up about it. They would talk like they were best friends, and it's like, now wait a second. It's like for how long there was, obviously there's significant differences between the two. Obama and Trump had these, differences where like Trump would always, trash talk Obama, and Obama would kind of try and be this,
Stone Cold versus The Rock.
Right.
Yeah, we're all watching this. It's really close to WWE, guys. It's so close to WWE. It's unbelievable. Each side views their guy. It's very closer to Stone Cold like The Rock. I would say Stone Cold versus Triple H, but to everybody, Triple H was the bad guy. In our scenario, we got two sides of the country viewing their guy as the good guy and the other guy as the bad one. So they're both kind of playing their role, but it's a reverse psychology. You know, and this is what Chinese emperors did. All the leaders of the country are scientists behind at the end of the day. You can talk about the economics and all these things need to change. They ain't on there talking about Black Street or Black Rock and State Street and these motherfuckers who own everything around us who actually change the market. They ain't talking about Northrop Grumman. They ain't talking about the real corporations that actually run the show. You know,
right?
Why aren't we talking about the people who actually own and operate the show, who own the television stations that you're able to be on? You know,
well, they don't want you,
or Google.
They don't want you to know that. They don't want you to know that. It's all about
So this
control.
is why I have a hard time with any of these politicians getting on a screen, performing in a way, and believing any fucking thing they say they're going to do or operate or change. It's hard to believe any of it.
Hey, it's a fair point to make. I get it, you know, because, you know, all of this, you know, all these politicians do is lie all the time. That's all they do. The only difference is when it comes to Trump in particular, there's significant abnormalities comparing him to every other God-given politician that's ever served.
That's right. You know, you're right. You're right more than ever. He is a game show host.
Right. There's a lot of differences there, and I'm just talking about his history. I'm talking about also him as a president too. He's the only president since Ronald Reagan that actually had a decline in net worth. Right. And meanwhile, all these other, you know, presidents come in, they'll go from millionaires to billionaires and billionaires to trillionaires, whoever they are.
Yeah, I mean, I get the net worth deal, but here's another deal.
And then Trump was also
go ahead.
He was also the first president that did not accept the presidential, like whatever it was, like $400,000 a year, whatever it was. Yeah, he didn't accept the salary. Yeah. So,
but how much money do you think we talk about High Limit and World of Outlaws apparel sales?
Yeah.
How many Make America Great Again hats or tentacled apparel is he selling and gaining fandom that will buy these items and merchandise in exchange for rejecting a $400,000 check? How many places or Mar-a-Lago trips did he used to have to pay, you know, $10,000 or $15,000 in jet fuel to go and visit? Where currently in his previous presidency and his current presidency, the government is not only flying him to Mar-a-Lago for free, but is also paying Mar-a-Lago for him to stay there. All these trips and everything you eat and you do when you're president are paid for by government funds. The president doesn't pay to eat dinner. The president doesn't pay to stay at a hotel, even if he owns it. Why do you think he goes there so much when he's a president? He's paying his own business with government money. So, I mean, I'm just breaking it down. I mean, I think Trump's the best character. I think Trump's the best character of this show. I mean, I like RFK, but he's kind of crazy in some aspects. But I mean, he's the best character of the show. But I'm still seeing the bullshit happen that he does too.
The bullshit's going to be there regardless, no matter who it is that is in office. But I know damn well at least the gas was a little bit cheaper. Other things were a little bit cheaper. Things were a little better economically. You know, that's just how it works.
Well, but we did also go through a pandemic that caused global inflation that we've actually fought better than most of the world. You know, so I mean, you got to account that. You have to account the world being shut down for fucking 4 or 5 months. You know that. Yeah. That's going to cause inflation. And that's why it's hard to just blame Joe Biden for that inflation as well when looking at the world's inflation. It's not like it's a single entity issue. You know, we're actually one of the best countries in inflation post-pandemic. So, I mean, it's just facts.
We were in a significantly more vulnerable position. I mean, we're still in that vulnerable position more than a couple of days since Trump's in office.
Well,
but still, like, we've been very vulnerable for 4 years.
The thing that we do the best, and Trump is the thing that we do better than anyone else, and Trump, in my opinion, is an advocate for it, and I don't like this biggest point. We are the best at abusing our workforce. That's what we're best at. And he wants to give you more money for your overtime. What? Overtime is abuse of your workforce. Your citizens shouldn't have to work overtime to afford to live. Period.
Right.
Our citizens are abused in work. They don't even get to live a fucking life. They may get to Social Security, and now you're trying to take that away, too, because you spent all our fucking money to Northrop Grumman and fucking whatever company that you need to build $800 billion worth of defense. Next country's at $60 billion. But we need to be protected. Come on. We abuse our workforce. That's why we have so many psychological and mental issues and societal issues and problems, is because of monetary stress. And you want to abuse them even more. You want to reward them for getting abused. You want to make overtime pay more. That's disgusting. Anyone who works,
it's almost kind of like it's almost like you're addressing the corruption. Yeah. No. I know your point. I know what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Anyone working 40 hours a week, don't matter what the fuck you do, should be able to afford to live well. That's how you influence people to go to work. The problem that people don't want to go to work today is they can work 40 hours a week and still be fucking poor. You have to incentivize people to want to work by paying them a fair. For instance, in Australia, to be a coffee barista is $45 an hour. To be a gas station attendant is $35.
Yeah.
They don't have too much poverty over there because people want to work, because if they go to work, they live well.
Well, years ago, back here in the States, you used to be able to work at McDonald's and buy a house. You'd be able to do that.
Right.
Years ago.
Right.
And those times we need to get back to.
Right. And now you got BlackRock and these bigger hedge fund investment groups going around to different areas of the country. And when houses go on sale, they pay over premium and buy up the marketplace so that people are forced to overpay for rent, adding to the cycle.
Yep.
And getting out of ownership. You like the future, like they say in the globalist scary stuff, in the future, you will own nothing.
And be happy. Yep, own nothing and be happy. Yeah,
right.
That's their narrative.
And what are they? And this is why my issue with sporting events and all this stuff is, what's making all these poor people struggling happy? What's making all these hardworking 40-hour-a-week people happy? Football games on Sunday, Tinder, Snapchats, random dates, sex, women. Money, cars, clothes, maybe. Yep. What's making them happy? Everything but their life.
Yep, it's the other things that are outside of their life.
Right.
And outside of those core values.
Distraction. The demoralized, the demoralized, a demoralized society. And now women's newest hope is OnlyFans.
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
And it's a shame. It's just another nail in the coffin for themselves, basically.
Right. More demoralization.
Ain't no dude want that for the long run. Hell no.
It's demonic. This is demonic. This is end of times speaking. How we're acting. Not how these politicians and the society is doing. That they're the ones, they're definitely good at putting the magic out there, but we're the ones buying into the hypnotism of the scenario.
Yeah. It's all fucked up,
Yeah,
I'm
sorry. I didn't mean to go on a Trump bash. I don't even think it's a Trump bash.
No, it's just a discussion.
But I do believe that the workforce, our country is the best at abusing its workforce.
Yeah, I can understand that. Absolutely.
And then look how they did it when that union guy tried to stand up for his workforce. They weaponized it with political ferretry.
And what?
Oh, he's the union's Democratic. So now he's radical leftist, or what was it, the dock unions or whatever? Right. These political things become a part of that circus, of that football game. This is a game. It's a distraction from their own reality. You know, so even though we could sit back here with our rational, life-thinking minds and say that America's workforce is abused, when a guy comes out and tries to say something about it, and the media and the entities play their game and politically weaponize his move as a democratic thing and a socialist idea, and what?
Right.
This is
no matter what he says, he's doing both.
Right. This is the bubble they got y'all in. Mental bubbles that I'm trying to pop here, that they've spent probably most of your lives building. They've built this. It's a fucking psyop. It's a lifetime psyop, you know, in a way.
Yep.
Valor Motorsports, he's bummed now. He was buying, you know, memberships to the channel, and now he's sad. I fucking busted all these bubbles. He's waking up, looking in the mirror tonight, fucking facing reality.
Right. Yeah, it's all about keeping you in the bubble to keep you distracted from what's actually going on.
And I guess that's all we can do, right? In our society. Yep. We're free though, right? We have privacy, right? I mean, our phones do have 2 microphones and 6 cameras, but we're free and we're private here. But
yeah, well, it's only as free as you'll be able to make it, you know, because there's some things, you know, like I you know, you blink and it's like, holy crap, time went by fast, you know. I at least feels like that for me a little bit. But you know, it's like over the last few years, I kind of realized that, you know, my perspective is, all right, I'm 25. I made it, you know, at least a third of my life, if not almost a quarter, whatever, you know, somewhere between there. It's like life is fast. Life is too short to dwell on the things you can't change and can't control.
Right.
You know, things are a little more short. I think certain things are a little more short term than we realize too, you know?
Yeah. It just feels like, we're in a system. I just feel like we're on this fucking like level 9 of 10 levels, and it's like really fucking hard to get to even exist and make it through this level, you know.
Yeah, it's hard in this world. It's hard.
But this level just seems harder than any other level that most people have had to deal with. The system is more set up to fuck you than ever.
It's harder than it should be. It's harder than it's been before. And then the people that are older than us are the ones trying to tell us how easy it is and how everybody in our generation is the problem. You know,
right. That's another thing about Australia that was enlightening. Their average political age is about 35.
Yeah.
We ain't got a bunch of old people, grannies, who should be in nursing homes running the fucking country. You know?
Yeah, Mitch McConnell's choking out during press conferences when he's getting asked questions. Nancy Pelosi can't even stand on her own 2 feet no more. All that, dude. It's nuts over here. It's a freaking circus. It's a zoo. It's a zoo.
It's a show. It's a show.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
We should at least make it a good show at that, right?
Well, it's a good show. It's entertaining. It's very dramatic. Has its characters. Has its clowns. Has its bad guys. Has its two-faced fuckheads. You know, it's a hell of a show. But why is it a show?
Oh, yeah.
That's the problem.
They're all playing us.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Right wing and the left wing flock the same bird, you know.
Yep.
But anyway, we're depressing people. So I mean, they thought Trump was to save the world. You know, if I point out too many ways on how he ain't going to save the world, it's going to demoralize you. You know, you're on a high momentum run right now. You think things are going to change because they put another puppet in the Puppet Master show. I'm just sitting here thinking, all these years, there's a king. There's a director who has more power than any of these guys sitting in seats. And they just changed so he can stay in power.
For me, it was simple. I look back to Trump's first term, you know. That's my perspective on it. things were genuinely better in more ways than not during his time. And a lot of the things that he's brought up and proposed now with, prior when he was campaigning also are great ideas that should be implemented, and that seems like some of them will be, and
we need to hope
in many instances.
We need to hope that when they put their hand on the Bible and actually swear in that there's some fucking heebie-jeebie shit happening. We better hope.
Well, thing is, at least some of what he said was actually done last time, and nothing that Biden proposed and said that he was going to do never happened either. He didn't have, the best interests in other ways, maybe not every way, but in other ways, to American people's heart. He didn't, I mean, the first thing that Biden did when he got into office, he signed an executive order that stopped the Mid-Atlantic pipeline that was supposed to go down to Georgia. But then, meanwhile, he approved the one that's supposed to go from Europe to Russia. You kidding me?
Right.
And that's supposed to be better for the people,
Yeah.
So that right there was quote unquote stopping the American jobs and all of that. So while the whole Trump thing might be bad in a lot of ways, because of like what you're saying, and I definitely see your point. You bring up a very good point with all of that. But you have to see that the other side is also not really proposing anything better. Like, there should be one side proposing better ideas. And, while the Trump side might not feel like it's the most ideal, it is the most ideal right now.
It's definitely better than the Biden one.
Yeah.
So.
And it's definitely way better than Kamala Harris or whatever the hell.
The Biden. I see Kamala and Biden are the same thing. But
yeah, it's
and then Biden's kind of like, in my opinion, the greatest representation to support my theory is like, you had a president in there who couldn't walk straight, talk straight, or read a book, and he and the country operated as normal. So that tells me I don't need a president for this motherfucker to collect the taxes, charge you right, and fuck you over.
Yep.
It can operate without a pilot. We had the closest thing ever to that example with Joe Biden.
Yeah.
So
certainly can. Autopilot's a thing.
So then who's running it? Ain't that some bitch?
Mm-hmm. Just the puppeteer.
But hopefully you're right. Hopefully Trump comes in there and changes it all. Don't want to kill the hope of change.
Well, listen. I'm not trying to say, he's going to come in here and, be all end all, be the best thing since sliced bread. But, things aren't going to suck as bad. And certain things aren't going to suck as bad, I should say.
Right.
Economically, it's at least worth a shot. What do you have to lose? It's either that or you get Biden shit. You know what I mean? What's the obvious choice?
Right.
There's actually a record of progression in the right direction with Trump in the past. So, to me, that was enough, and that's more than enough over anything. So.
Right.
But.
I was trying to look something up, but I ain't getting nowhere on looking it up. But we should just stop. We're bashing. We're not bashing the new president. We're bashing the hope. That's the problem. We are bashing the hope.
It's a conversation about it. That's all it is. It's conversation.
Well, no. Trump is Kyle, and you can't point out what he's doing wrong on that racetrack, or they're coming for you.
Right.
So.
Well, you can say what you want. I'm not gonna.
That's because you're Puerto Rican. You're not a white guy. If you were white, this would be going completely different.
Right. The Puerto Rican's coming at me.
Yeah.
I'll just,
Well, you're just extremely anti-communistic because your country got to experience what communism is.
I wasn't from the.
Well,
I wasn't from the.
You probably have stories at least.
Relatives might. I don't. But.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just, it's all about free thinking over here, It's all it's about.
It's true. All right. Well, it is kind of late. It's almost 1 a.m. You're from PA, so it's 2 a.m. there. Your night shifting is going well, hopefully.
No, I ain't night shifting. I'm a night hawk. So I have college. My classes are usually in the afternoons and evenings. So go wake up, go to the gym, do college, or if I'm not doing classes, I go to work. So it is what it is there, I graduate this May, so I'm nearing the end of that. So that's why I'm looking forward to kind of, real life happening a little bit here in the next 4 years, like when Trump comes into office. It's not going to be easy, obviously, to buy a house and all that. It wasn't easy before regardless, but, I mean, it's not going to be easy to get to that point, but,
What
when
was your
hopefully the
what was your major? What are you going after? What, trade or?
communications. I'm going for communications degree.
Oh no.
I'm a very good bullshitter. I'm
That's
good
a
at
step
talking.
away from philosophy. I don't know how many jobs are out there in that, but
Well, I look at it this way. For me, you see, I was always good at writing, good at essays, good at stuff like that. So I wanted to do something like that where it's a broad topic in college, and I could just use my 4-year degree in general to get a decent job. That's kind of the ultimate goal. Because there's a lot of jobs. I mean, there's a lot of jobs you don't need a degree for, but there's a lot of jobs that they don't require, a specific degree. If you have a 4-year degree in anything, a lot of times that's looked up as a positive thing to have on a resume. So I'm hoping that, whatever that I end up doing, for me personally, I would love to get into broadcasting. I'd love to be like an announcer, whether it's for racing, that'd be cool, or for hockey in some form or fashion. Me personally, I'd kill to do it. As far as talent goes, I have some connections, have some experience, things like that. Not a whole lot, but, I always had, some positive, influence of a lot of people saying, hey, that was damn good. You should give that a shot. You should try it, and it's something I want to look into a little bit, but I definitely want to, make sure that I look into other opportunities as well, not be limited to just, specific things.
right.
So,
Okay.
got to do my best here with it. But yeah.
Well, I mean, did pretty good tonight, I guess. I mean,
yeah. No, I'm usually having bullshit with my buddies or something.
I think part of communication is listening to something you don't want to hear and being able to respond without losing your shit. Most people can't do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Or you talked a little bit about, hey, I don't like Trump doing X, Y, and Z. I didn't give you a fuss.
Right.
So.
Right. You're supposed to listen and respond. It's kind of like your presentation.
Right. Yep. And then let people, like I said before, let people respond with personal attacks on you and not on what your beliefs are. Interesting. If you look at it in that perspective, you'll see how stupid people really are.
Yeah, it's true. All right. Well, Dean Henry just said it. Good night, everyone.
Yeah. All right. Hey, you have a good one, brother.
All right. Thanks for calling in once again, man.
Yep. See ya.
Bye. Well, you see it right there, ladies and gentlemen. Dean Henry says good night, everyone, and I think he is correct. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. Somebody did. It looks like it's a Trevor File was confused on how to join the channel, I believe. There is a join button below this video, I believe. That is how you join it. I do see that you sent $5 on PayPal to try to join. I will try my best to get you signed up on the membership deal, but I do believe it's a subscription deal that has to be approved through you. So if you haven't and you want to join join the membership on the channel, there is a join button on these videos. You can go to another video or watch another video on the channel. Once you join through any of those videos, as long as you click the join button and join the membership of the channel, I think the bottom dollar membership is $2.99. Once again, our projected thought on how to do this is these live videos, of course, being free. And then by noon the next day, locking the whole entire live video to channel members only, which is, once again, $2.99 a month. I think here I would receive like $2.20 or $1.90. You can also join the $9.99. There's higher if you want to contribute higher, but that's the minimum. And then if you are the channel member, one of the perks for being a channel member is going to be able to watch the full replays of this event here. So, or of the shows here. But if you tune in live and you want to watch for free and all that, tune into the lives. These will stay live. They will always be live. But once this video does end, it's a live broadcast by, I'm going to say noon tomorrow. I should do it right after the show. We're just going to try this out. By noon tomorrow, it will be locked as a membership-only video. We will be taking clips from this video, posting the clips to the channel. Those will be free. Everything will remain free, the music, all of it. But the full live video broadcast replays, the live shows remain free, but the replays will be membership-only content on the channel. That is the idea here. The idea is to potentially bring in some reoccurring revenue and also making it more important to view the show live. so that more people will tune in to watch the show live, because if they don't catch it live, then they'll have to join the channel membership to watch the replay. So it's more emphasized on getting more people to pay attention and watch live here on the show, but it's also halfway hoping that more people will join or have a reason or have a perk for being a membership or being a member on the channel and getting a channel membership. It's $2.99 a month. Hold on. Let's see what that actually comes down to. $2.99 divided by 31 days. Is that correct? $2.99 divided by, let's put 30. Oh, wow. It can't even do the math. It's saying 0. That is 0.09. So it's about 1 cent a day. So if my lives are not worth 1 cent a day, okay, you're telling me how, or my replays of my lives, the lives are staying free. If the replay of my lives are not worth a penny to you, that says a lot. Okay. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that's the idea. That's what we're hoping to do here on the channel. We'll try it out here, see how it goes. I want to thank Valor Motorsports for gifting out. Yeah, 10 cents. 10 cents. If I'm not, well, it's 9 cents then. 9 cents a day. Sorry, I was wrong. If I'm not worth 9 cents a day, that's fine. If not worth 9 cents a day, that's fine. I did read that incorrectly. But regardless, we'll try it out. If it doesn't work, we'll go back. But just trying to develop some reoccurring income, like we said on the channel before. It's a make or break type of year. This thing has to start working monetarily more than ever, or I'm not going to say it's going to end, but it's definitely not going to be as paid attention to as it should be. I think there's value in here. I think it deserves the attention. I think these shows are valuable. It's time for everyone to potentially agree with that and spend 10 cents a day. I'm not trying to sound like one of those, starving homeless kids on a show, but just 10 cents a day can keep us awake and doing this. I'm just playing. That sounds so bad. Now you're making me feel guilty. Fuck all of y'all assholes. I thought I had a good idea, incentivize people to tune in live, because if they don't catch it live, they have to pay, and I thought it was good. You need to vlog. Nope, vlogging takes way too much time, not worth it, losing a lot of money. But anyways, thanks for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. Join the memberships if you have not. Subscribe to the channel if you have not. Like the video, share it around, and as always, leave a comment what you believe, what you think is very important. We will catch you next time. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen. Bye, dank. Ready to rip.